Um, this is probably going to be bad because I'm going into it without any sort of a game plan. I just turned the mic on and I'm going to just riff. Um, but I realize that my schedule is very limited now. I'm shipping out on Monday, and this is my chance to make YouTube videos, so I'm going to try to make as many as I can. I might be shipping out on Monday. Well, what do you mean might? Well, if you're wondering how things are going on the job front for me, what happened is that a couple days ago, my boss, Oleg, asked me if he could borrow my personal vehicle, my pickup truck, the shitty one with the broken handle. And, when your boss asks you for a favor, you kind of have to say yes. So I was like, yeah, okay, you can borrow my truck, even though I hate letting people drive my vehicle. When you're poor, your vehicle is your lifeline. Without that, I can't go to work. I can't go to the food bank. I just can't do shit without my vehicle. So I hate letting other people drive it. But I did. And, predictably something bad happened. I guess he was driving it a little too rough, and he blew out the transmission, which was in great shape before. And instead of having it towed somewhere, he left it abandoned on a freeway overpass where it got impounded by the local sheriff's department. Oh my goodness, I'm pissed off right now. So right now, I didn't even get to go to the Feast of Theophany today. Today is a big Orthodox day for those who don't know, which is everybody, I know. But I didn't get to go. I'm stuck here in my apartment and without a vehicle, which is currently in the shop getting fixed on Oleg's dime. But I'm really not happy right now. I mean, this is kind of what happens when you mix business with personal. You should never work for people who are your friends, or to look at it another way, you should never be friends with somebody that you work for, because it blurs the lines between business and professional and pleasure, or dipping the pen and company ink or whatever the hell, and these things happen. So I don't know if this is going to taint my employment with this company. It may, because if my truck doesn't get fixed, I'm probably going to punch this guy in the face. But I don't know. We'll see what happens with all of that. But anyway, so understandably, I'm kind of in a bad mood right now, and you guys know what happens when the Fakesagan is in a bad mood. You get drama. You get drama videos. That's the direction I always go in when things are going bad for me. So I was watching a little Sargon of Akkad here. This is one of my favorite some of my favorite viewing material here on YouTube. I guess I'll just close this out in a second. But let's talk about the goings on. And yeah, by the way, I've been hiding my subscriber number, but right now you guys can see what it is. 383 subscribers. Part of the reason that I nuked my last channel, The Smooth Terrorist, was to find out how many people are really watching, because something that happens on YouTube is that if you have a channel for a long time, you end up with a lot of dead subs. So you might have like a subscriber count that says 10,000, for example, and yet of that 10,000, how many people are actually watching your shit? It could end up being as low as like 100. Now, if you're a guy like Brett Keane, who's just trying to make himself look like the biggest kid in the sandbox, that's actually a good thing. But if you're somebody like me who doesn't really take this seriously in that way, and it's just kind of a game, like when I make these YouTube videos, what I'm most often thinking is like, how are people going to react when I say this? What's this going to do? It's all just kind of it's all kind of a laugh to me. So I like to know how many people are really watching, and I close channels all the time for that and other reasons. So this new channel I've had, and I'm still stuck with this string of numbers as my URL instead of an actual name, so that makes it hard for people to subscribe, understandably. But I've had this open for a couple of weeks, and I'm only up to 383. Well, here's what's confusing me about this. A lot of people have been talking about this issue of my relevance. How relevant is Fakesagan on YouTube? Am I obsolete? Do I matter? you know, a lot of people, pretty much everybody I've been interacting with, whether it comes to the drunken peasants, Brett Keane, in Mendham, you know, everybody that I've had words with, they've been throwing this you're irrelevant thing at me, like, oh, you have no relevance anymore, you're obsolete, you jumped the shark, nobody cares, nobody cares, nobody cares, you don't matter, you don't matter, you don't matter. And I've been responding back saying things like, oh, well, look at how relevant I am. I've got all these drunken peasant episodes all about me, and everybody's flipping their shit when I make a ponage video. And but the truth is, I don't understand my relevance on here, and it's something I'm trying to figure out, because I don't get it. Like, I don't know what I am on YouTube anymore. I don't understand my place in the scheme of things. And I'm really being honest. It's just something that's rather confusing to me. So let's go ahead and get to this. This is the last video that I uploaded before I took out 2.5 weeks on the road, before I lighted out to parts unknown. And what made a little bit of waves here is this comment left by the Amazing Atheist. You know, when I first saw this, when I got back home, I thought, that's got to be fake. This has to be a troll account that's just like a clone, you know, because there's spacing between the Amazing and Atheist, and I don't remember him having that. I thought it was all just one solid thing with no spacing in between. So I was like, this is fake. This can't be real. Well, you know, the easiest way to check that is to just click on it, and it is real. I mean, here's TJ's channel here with the full 1 million subscriber count, so that is him. So, yeah, hold on, let me go ahead and pause that. So I'm looking at this, and this has confused a lot of people, not the least of whom being me. You know, if anybody thinks that I know what's going on, or that I understand why TJ did this, I don't. And yeah, am I a little bit resentful of the fact that the guy leaves a 3-word comment that probably took all of 30 seconds and it's got me buzzing about it? Well, yeah, I mean, sure, I am, like. But, you know, anybody has to admit, this is strange. It's weird that he would leave a positive comment when I've been flinging ponage videos about these guys left, right, and center for the past month or however long. You know, because I've been around on YouTube, and if TJ wanted to reach out to me and kind of make amends and bury the hatchet or whatever, he had all the opportunity to do that. So why would he choose to do it now when I've been, you know, just unloading both barrels at these guys? It's really kind of strange, and I've got a couple theories as to why. But before we do that, let's get to this little Brett Keane video, because this is amusing to me. Look at Brett Keane's reaction to this little this little situation, and just pay close attention to the facial expressions in this right here.
But strangely enough, the Amazing Atheist recently posted a comment on the latest video by Christopher Anderson, Fakesagan, telling him, "I hope that you get the job." Chris apparently is trying to get a new job, and the Amazing Atheist actually supported him in comments. Very peculiar, very particular situation, individual.
Can you guys see what I'm seeing? Do you see the furious butthurt on this guy's face right now? He's like, why you, Fakesagan? How come I don't get an Amazing Atheist comment on one of my videos when all I do is single-mindedly obsess about these guys 24/7 every day of my life? Why are you special? Brett, I don't know. I don't fucking understand this at all. I don't know what's going on. By the way, this right here, I mean, look at. Oh, okay, so do you guys remember a couple videos back when I was going back and forth with Brett Keane, and I said, hey, if you're not going to take Christianity seriously, and you're not going to follow Christ's law, or even make a token effort at doing so, and you're also going to act duplicitous and conniving and try to scheme everybody, why don't you take down the crosses from your channel and replace it with a Star of David? Because you're a lot more like a Jew than you are like a Christian. And he's done it! I came back after 2 weeks and he's fucking done it. He's put a fucking Star of David. Why did... One man should not have this much control over the internet. I don't understand. See, this is the central theme of this video that I'm making right here, is that I'm baffled by my own relevance. I don't understand why people like Brett Keane and Paul's Ego and The Amazing Atheist are paying so much attention to me with my humble little 300 subscribers. I don't get it at all. It's just something that's really got me scratching my head in sheer confusion. But apparently I'm like this enfant terrible around here that just makes waves every time I open my fucking mouth for reasons I can't comprehend. I mean, apparently I'm Brett Keane's creative director here, and I'm telling him how to how to arrange the layout of his YouTube channel, and he's actually listening to me. He's actually doing it. I don't know. Okay. So let's try an experiment here. How about this, Brett? Since you're a giant dickhead, how about you put a dick on your on your channel art for your YouTube channel? Let's see if he actually does that. Let's see if I come back after another 2 weeks of trucking and there's a big dildo right here. Because I can't why do I have this much control? What the literal fuck? I mean, guys, could somebody please help me understand this? I don't know who I am anymore. I don't understand any of this. And yeah, going back to this video that Brett made for me 2 weeks ago, full story of Fakesagan Brett Keane interaction start to finish. So it's 17 minutes long, but that's a hard 17 minutes. Like, I could watch this and respond to the things he says, but it's the typical Brett Keane fare, a bunch of spin and propaganda for himself and the typical lies that you would expect from a Brett Keane video, and frankly it's so boring that 16 minutes and 53 seconds is 16 minutes and 53 seconds too much. Like, I feel like it would just kind of destroy the video I'm making right here if I actually go through and respond piecemeal to this, so I'm not going to do that. But yeah, so this TJ comment, this, he may have done this on purpose just for this very reason, but it's got me twisted up in knots, because I'm just, like, my head is spinning trying to figure out what's going on here. So I've got a couple of competing theories. Let me share them with you guys. Number one, and this was the first thing that popped into my head, is that TJ didn't leave the comment at all, okay? Because TJ is pretty lax with security around his own house, or at least he was when I was living with him. I remember he would leave his YouTube channel, like his main, not one of his sock accounts, like what was it, TJ Does Life or whatever. Like, he had all these little sock accounts to talk about tangential shit, but he would leave his main signed in all the time. And I would just hop on his computer. I would get on his workspace and like ban people who I didn't like. Just because I thought it was funny. And, I don't know if he knew I was doing... I'm pretty sure he was aware I was doing that, and he just let me get away with it because it was funny to him too. But yeah, I would do that kind of shit all the time. Is it disrespectful? I'm sure, but I mean, I'm a prankster. That's my personality archetype. Like, I am Loki. This is what I do. I am the Joker. I mean, I fuck with the internet. That is the nature of my interaction with YouTube and all the people contained therein. Like, I'm just here to fucking hurl Molotov cocktails and laugh. That's that's what it's about for me. It's all a big joke. Um, I am the comedian. If you want to put things in the Watchmen terms, like that. That's kind of just what it's about. Like I'm just this weird, twisted nihilist, kind of laughing at it all. Um, but yeah, so my first theory is that TJ didn't leave this comment at all. Like maybe he left his main YouTube channel signed in, and then Ben or somebody hopped on his workstation and said, "Oh, TJ's kind of been getting on my nerves, taking over the drunken peasants a little too much, stealing limelight from me. So I'll just leave this positive comment for Fakesagan." And boy, won't the egg be on TJ's face. It'll be like the whole praise for Brett Keane standing on the cliffs with the waves crashing against the thing all over again. And then I can sit around and laugh when everybody sees this. But nobody will see it because, here again, 383 subscribers. So that kind of shoots down that theory. So what other possible reasons could this be here? What else could explain this? Um, so is it possible that I've got the DP so upset and nervous that they're trying to kind of get in front of like all the damage that like, is this damage control? Is that what this is right here? Is this TJ kind of trying to like throw me a bone to get me off his back? Because here again, with the issue of relevance, when I made my first ponage video against Paul's ego, you know what I expected? Guys, do you know what I thought would happen? I thought he would ignore it. I thought he would just brush it off cold and not make any response at all. The last thing I expected was for him to have this like 2 week long public meltdown where he's just like making all these butthurt videos. Oh, who the fuck are you, Fakesagan? Your videos aren't ponage. They're not funny. You're not relevant. You don't matter. I mean, he just had a fucking fit. And I was kind of sitting there watching it like, holy shit. I did this with one video on my little lowly subscribed crumbling soapbox of a channel, and this guy is just fucking coming apart at the seams. Like, what the hell is going on here? Why all of this? And like everything that happened after that, it just got worse and worse and worse. Like he tried to counter the things I said about him, saying like oh, I don't think I'm cool, I don't think I'm some hip youth appropriate guy, like hey kids, watch the Paul's ego talk about the dankest buds, and then like he just goes on to contradict all of that. Like he makes a Periscope like a few days to a week later, where he's bragging about this gold subscriber button, right, this gold play button right here, and he's like, hey you lowly nobodies, hey you Drunken Peasants fans that only kicked in $5 to our Patreon, and you don't matter. Look at my 50-ounce gold subscriber button here. I'm the king of the internet, and you guys are just shit. You guys are the real peasants, not me. I'm the king, and then he pulls the bong out, right, and he says yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and load up a little bit more of this dank ass Afghani Kush. So, like, he literally goes on to do all the things that I accused him of doing, which he said that he was not doing. And man, it got worse and worse and worse. And like that dumb little video that I didn't even intend to be this massive like 20 megaton ponage bomb ended up becoming just that. I don't know, guys. And then he says he makes another one of his 1.5 million Periscope videos, and he says, well, I'm just going to take you out to the Paul's Ego woodshed, Fakesagan, but you're not getting into the DP mansion. And then the very next day, I'm on like the DP's got another episode dedicated to me. Like it's another Fakesagan episode on the drunken peasants. And Paul is just sitting there looking visibly pissed, like shuffling his feet, like just looking kind of sick and upset. That TJ and the other guys made a liar out of him, and man, it's just been a horror show. It's just been this bizarre horror show. Um, do you guys remember when the media started talking about how Vladimir Putin is like this chess player, right? But because you look at the geopolitical alignment and where the power centers are, and like Russia is just so disproportionately outmatched by the U.S. that you look at things like the way President Obama had to renege on his red line in the sand on Bashar al-Assad in Syria. And everybody's kind of looking at Vladimir Putin like all the political analysts and media commentators are kind of standing in awe and looking at this and going, how does this guy have so much power? I mean, like Russia is really nothing at this point. Like economically, militarily, they don't really have that much on the ball. It's like Putin had this losing hand, this losing poker hand, but he just made all the right moves and played it so masterfully that he kind of brought the U.S. and NATO to their knees. And everybody's just kind of scratching their heads like how is this happening? Well, that's how I'm starting to feel about myself here on, like, I've got to be the Vladimir Putin of YouTube. I mean, look at me here, like 383 subscribers. But every time I open my mouth and make these little ponage videos, it just sends waves. It just echoes in the highest mountain peaks. And all these big influential YouTube celebrities just lose their shit, and I don't get it. Like am I the Putin of YouTube? Is that who I am? Am I just like this masterful chess player that's holding a losing hand but just playing every card so masterfully that that I end up waging this incredible asymmetric warfare against my betters? Is that what's going on? Or is it that these people just like me? Like that's the third possibility, because I saw this comment and I thought, well, is it possible that this is genuine? Is it possible that TJ just really still has a soft spot for me, and after all these years and all the ponage that he's made and all the lies he's told about me, all these rumors he's cooked up to try to pardon me, to try to fuck with me, that underneath it all he still has this loyalty to me as a friend, and he's kind of keeping tabs on my life and wishing me the best. Knowing what I know of TJ as a person, I find that to be kind of a remote possibility, and yet here's this comment: best of luck. I don't fucking know, guys. I really just, 2017 is a strange year. It's we are living in the era of anything is possible. Like just let your expectations go. The Cubs won the World Series. Brexit happened. Donald Trump is your fucking president, and TJ apparently has a heart. I don't fucking know. I'm flummoxed. I really am flummoxed, guys. I don't understand what's going on. Anyway, so yeah, like let's harp on Paul's ego a little bit more. Let me put the mic down while I type for a second. So Paul's ego has done something that he hasn't done in a very long time, and that's stop. and that's actually make a video on his YouTube channel. Like the last one is a year ago, and then 2 weeks right before I got in the truck and started delivering frozen food and freight and every other damn thing, he made this other video in Paul's Ego, which seems to be a response to Inmendum. I kind of skimmed over it here and there, which is insulting. It's only 6 minutes long. Let's go ahead and watch this. Let's go ahead and actually give this the time it deserves.
Well, here's a weird, terribly framed, old school style, off the cuff YouTube video.
Weird and terribly framed. Let me start replying right away. There's nothing weird about this. There's nothing terribly framed. You're dead center in the middle of the frame where you should be. This is vlogging how it's done, okay? These Periscope videos where it looks like the camera is sitting between your feet and they're angled up so that like your belly is just kind of eclipsing your chin, I mean, that's what's terribly framed, Paul. This right here is YouTube done right. This is vlogging done right. And I don't know why you seem to be insulting yourself for all the things you do right and praising yourself for all the things that you do wrong. This is what alarms me the most about you lately, Paul. Is that you won't give yourself any credit when you do something cool, but you seem to be very proud of your failings. Your cruelty, your drug abuse, you're real proud of that. You'll hold that up as some kind of achievement, and yet, when you actually make an honest video, which is what this appears to be, which is a rarity from you these days, it's like you're ashamed of it. Like what the fuck is going? Is that just the is that just the drunken peasant's ethos? Is that like some kind of rule for you guys that like you must be a phony? Don't you dare say anything honest or substantive, because then it's just crap, right? Anyway, I've ranted a little bit too much. Let's go on with this.
An old YouTube friend and associate of mine in Mendham, aka Do Not God, aka, Gary. Anyway.
That fucking laugh, Paul.
Anyway, look, Gary came up. I don't even remember what the context was recently, honestly, on the Drunken Peasants, and we covered some of his stuff, or maybe it was a Brett Keane video where he was mentioned. And we talked briefly at the beginning about, similarities between Brett Keane and Gary, and, Gary responded to that in a video recently.
All of this is news to me, by the way. It must have happened while I was gone, so I really can't comment, but anyway.
No. And he took exception to some of the things that the inferences that we draw between he and Brett, and look, I don't ever exempt myself from my own criticism. Gary's counter to that was he sees a lot more Brett in me than he sees in himself, and touche. All right, fair enough. We're both fat guys. We're both loud mouths. We're both,
You're both liars.
I get it. Fair enough. One of the things, Gary said he was a hermit.
Actually, let me expound upon that a little bit. You're both liars who are obsessed with public image, at least right now. And you didn't used to be that way, Paul. That's why I'm going after you so hard lately, because I don't like this change. I don't like the new Paul's Ego. Now, I mean, anybody, and this isn't just coming from me, okay? Any disinterested third party, any outsider looking in, who looks at your old videos, like back in the golden age of YouTube atheism, we all remember the times, we all remember the day, and looks at you now, they can see that a massive shift has happened. Like, you have changed as a person. Now, what I don't know, and what maybe nobody but you can answer, is which one is the real Paul's Ego? Were you being a phony then, or are you being a phony now? Like, is this the real you? But I tend to think that it isn't. I think the old Paul was the real Paul, and this right here is you coming apart at the seams. for reasons that I can speculate on, and you'll just be offended if I do. I'm getting a text here. Let me check this real quick. Okay. All right. This just somebody from church. I'll look at that later. But anyway, so where was I going with this? Yeah, like you know, Gary is right, and you're right to say touche and mea culpa and put your hand up and admit that he's right. You do have more in common with Brett Keane than he in Mendham does. The reason why is because Brett is tragicomically obsessed with PR, with making everybody like him, making everybody think that he's a swell guy. He's a propagandist for himself, as I've said so many times. And that's what you're doing these days, Paul. Like you're flailing around trying to look like this tough guy in this winter, and it's not working out for you, man. It's not working out for you at all. It's failing for the same reasons that Brett fails when he does the same thing. Okay, and you like a word to the wise. I know you don't consider me a friend anymore, but like, just fucking start being real again, man. Stop doing this shit.
I said Gary was a hermit, and I could tell that bothered Gary because he is right. He does do walk and talks, and he does a lot of really cool videos where, like, I remember.
Yeah. If it bothered him, it's because it was a hit, right? Like, I don't have to tell you guys what you all already know, okay? Ponage is successful when it's the truth, all right? That is how you make a successful Ponage video. Like, some people have been criticizing the ones I've been making lately. It's like, oh, this isn't as funny as the stuff you used to say back in the day. You used to be so much more verbose and so much more flowery language, and your Ponage was so much funnier and more intelligent. Well, Ponage doesn't have to be funny. It doesn't have to be full of elaborate speech. For a Ponage video to work, it has to reveal the truth, especially an uncomfortable truth that somebody doesn't want to face about themselves, okay? That's what good Ponage is, and that's when butthurt comes out, which is always the sign of a successful Ponage. So a million DP fans can come over to my video and my comments and say, oh, you fell flat on your face, your Ponage didn't work, it was ineffectual. But if I see you flailing around and getting butthurt and crying about it, then I know it was effective, okay? So that's the sign of an effective Ponage is when you lose your shit. And why do you lose your shit? Because it touched a nerve, because somebody hit on some truth. Gary is a hermit. That's probably something about himself that he doesn't like. I fucking wouldn't. Who would? I mean, the guy realizes that he's isolated himself. He said in a recent video that he's not talking to his own family members because they voted for Donald Trump. All right, some part of him has to realize that's not healthy. That's not normal. Okay, so for you to call attention to that, yeah, that's effective Ponage because it's the truth. Lies and bullshit, saying that somebody is a sponge off Uncle Sucker and they're gay for Cody Weber, yeah, that falls flat because it's fake. Okay? In order to pwn effectively, you have to be real. Anyway, let's go on.
Back in the day, he used to do slow-mo of him diving into a pool. Anyway, Gary gets out of his house. One of the things I wanted to talk to Gary about in this video is like this idea of, he talks about a handicap that he has, and I don't know exactly what it is, to be honest. Maybe it's agoraphobia, maybe it's some kind of, anxiety that keeps him, whatever it is, doesn't really matter. But he goes on in the video to talk, 'cause
he says that it's social anxiety, panic disorder. If you ask me, that is not what it is. And the reason why is that if you look at Gary's behavior, okay, he's not a person who shies away from confrontation. Someone with true anxiety disorder is. You remember that boxing match between me and Captain Awesome that just never happened? Because the guy didn't want to face me. And it's not really... I mean, look, not to rehash old shit, I don't even really think he was afraid of a physical ass whooping. Which and it's just one man's opinion. I think I easily would have been able to give him one, but I don't think that's what he was afraid of. I think what he was afraid of was the interpersonal confrontation, standing eye to eye, face to face with somebody who doesn't like you. For a person with social anxiety disorder, that is very difficult to do. But if you look at Gary, this is a man who will stand in a courtroom and call the judge a liar to his face and say, like, you're depriving me of my constitutional rights, blah, 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 and get himself on Fox News for threatening a judge. I mean, this is a guy who takes visitors at his house from YouTube. And I don't know what happens when maybe he, sits him down for a polite tea party and pulls out the fine china. Or maybe he's the same person he is on YouTube and he like shouts in their face. I have no idea. But, I don't see Gary as someone who really has a problem with anxiety or panic disorder. He might be saying that. What I think is really going on with Gary is that he's got a severe personality disorder. And if you guys recall back to the whole Fox News threatening a judge thing, the judge said the same thing. Okay, the judge's remarks on the bench match my own. And that's not why I'm saying it, it's because our opinions happen to coincide. The judge said, Mr. Mosier, I think you're a person with a severe personality disorder. That's what's going on with Gary. Like, Gary has asshole-itis. That's the diagnosis. Okay, that's what's going on with the guy. He's just an unpleasant personality. He really is just kind of a hateful, angry person. Just kind of a mean guy. I mean, they're out there. It takes all kinds to make the world go round, and they all wash up on the YouTube shore, don't they? They all find their way onto the internet because, frankly, people like that, people like me, to be honest, people like me and Gary. We don't fit in anywhere else but the internet. I mean, this is the land. This is the island of misfit toys. This is where, as I famously said, and everybody else kind of picked it up and ran with it. YouTube is the home of broken people. This is where we end up. So yeah, I do think that Gary has a crippling disability that precludes him from normal employment, normal social interaction and family life and community life. But I don't think it's panic disorder, anxiety disorder. I don't think it's something that could be treated with beta blockers or medication. I think what's wrong with Gary is he's a dick. He's just kind of a bad guy. And I like him. I'm still gonna keep talking to him and responding to his videos. But yeah, Gary's a bad egg.
I was nicer to him later on the Drunken Peasants, and I talked about how I think he's a really smart guy, and that's true. I think he's got a lot of good ideas, and I think that's true. I do think he has a hard time admitting that he's wrong, and I do think that and I know he's probably going to go like, well, Paul, when was I ever wrong? And look, I don't want to really. This isn't that video, but I did want to clear the air a little bit, and I see no reason not to do it using my YouTube channel, because what the fuck else is it there for, right?
Yeah, what the fuck is it there for, Paul? I miss it when you used to make videos.
The point I was trying to make is these kind of inferences that he draws between himself and his mental illness totally apply to me. He says he looks at me now and he says he sees wasted potential. But what Gary doesn't know, or maybe he does, I don't know, maybe he thinks that I'm worse off now somehow, is that for the last maybe 20 years of...
Can I stop this video right here and be superficial for a second? Does anybody remember somebody from the golden age of YouTube atheism named Azranok? You can't miss him. He had a big bull ring in his nose. He had that piercing. Well, Azranok made a ponage video about me way back in the day, years and years and years ago. And it's one of the things he said to me? He said, if you want to get Fakesagan's attention, don't make a substantive argument about him. Don't, call him by name or anything like that. Just jingle a pair of keys like you would in front of a baby or a dog or something, because he's so superficial. He's just so image obsessed that's the way to get his attention. Well, that was a hit. He sunk my battleship with that one. Because one thing that I do when I watch YouTube videos is that I pay a lot more attention to how somebody looks than I do to what's actually coming out of their mouth. And I want to talk about how you look, um, Paul's ego. I want to talk about how you look here. And I'm not just talking about this video, but everything that I've seen you in for the past few months. Look at this complexion, okay? You look pale. I mean, you look like your blood pressure has got to be dangerously low. And by the way, I do know what causes that. Excessive THC consumption. THC lowers your blood pressure by a lot. That's why when you get high and you're sitting down and then you suddenly stand up, you get dizzy and it feels like you're going to fall over. That's why it works for glaucoma patients, because glaucoma is excessive pressure in the eyes and in the orbital sockets, right? It's too much pressure. It's kind of like your eyes are bugging out. So when you smoke pot and it reduces your blood pressure, it reduces the pressure behind your eyes. You know, that's why people get the quote-unquote chink eye. That's why you get that heavy-lidded eye look when you smoke weed. It's because it's reducing the pressure behind your orbital sockets, behind your eyes, because of the reduced blood pressure. But this can, like, I'm not trying to sound like Dr. Drew Pinsky here or something, or sound like some preachy Mormon, okay? But listen to me. I'm being real, okay? Excessive THC consumption can actually be dangerous. You can lower your blood pressure so much that you have a stroke, that you have some kind of cardiac event. It's hard to do that with just regular bud, but if you're dabbing, if you're doing the wax, and like let's say you just smoke a gram of wax to the dome, people have wound up in the hospital. And some of the bud that's coming out these days is so fucking powerful. I know I sound like Nancy Reagan, guys. Look, I know. But try to see this for what it is, which is concern for a friend. Okay, because, you know, you can call it concern trolling if you want. I'm sure that you will. You can say I'm full of shit. But the truth is, Paul, the reason why I started making ponage videos about you is that I am fucking concerned for you. You don't look good these days, man. You don't. I mean, like you've got this red area here between your eyes. Your eye sockets look sunken in. You just look pale and haggard and tired. Like, you know, I've been out on the road trucking with like 2 hours of sleep per day if I'm lucky for the past 2 weeks, and I look healthier than you do right now. You do not. You look sick. You do not look good. And you know, I know this part of your video is all about boasting about how great your life is now, and you know, oh, I'm doing great. Everything's coming up roses for Paul's ego. Well, it doesn't look like it, man. Like, whatever you're fucking doing, you know, I don't know if it's just weed and psychedelics or if you're into more than that. Pain pills, speed, whatever the fuck you're doing. Whatever you're doing, okay, this is the point. Whatever you're doing, it's not working for you. It is not working out. And try to understand that you are hearing the voice of somebody who has mountains of experience when it comes to drug abuse, who's seen a lot of people go down the tubes, who's seen a lot of lives destroyed, including in a lot of ways my own. I'm speaking from experience, Paul. Like, I know the signs. I know what the handwriting on the wall looks like. You look bad, man. You don't look good.
My life, I've been living in kind of a depressive coma where I worked a normal ass 9-to-5 job and didn't do anything creative really ever with my life. And that was that. And now I work a job where, you know, say what you want about it content wise, but I make a living doing things that, you know, I love doing. Improvisational comedy, extemporaneous speaking, you know. So, you know, I think that Gary and I have...
But here's my question for you, Paul. If you're doing what you love, right? The extemporaneous speaking, the improvisational comedy, yeah, and I know you do enjoy those things and you're good at them. But if you're doing what you love, Why aren't you happy? All right. Why aren't you happy? Because you fucking clearly aren't. I mean, maybe okay, I understand your struggle with depression isn't something that cropped up yesterday. It's an ongoing thing. It's something that you've been dealing with for years, perhaps all your life. But nevertheless, I remember the Paul's ego of 2007, 2008. He seemed, from all outward appearances, like a pretty happy and well-adjusted guy. Like a jovial guy, a gregarious guy, always cracking a joke, always had a smile, always had a puckish ownage video to direct against somebody. But he was having fun with it. Okay, that was obvious. When you pwned people back in the day, you were doing it the way I do now. You were doing it for the lulls. You were having fun. But when you pwn people these days, it's like it really is like watching Brett Keane. Like it's like watching somebody do furious damage control, and you don't look happy. Like you look like you're miserable. You look like you're coming apart at the seams emotionally.
A lot more in common than he thinks. And I don't like Gary. Once again, like he talks about how I don't hate you, Paul. Well, I did, whatever. I didn't really think Gary actually hated me because Gary always did treat me good when I came into the stick cams, and then he used to do Google Hangouts and shit too. In the early days, he was trying that as a medium, and I would always go in there and pop in. And, the thing with Gary is like he and I, we never really got too super deep. I mean, I guess we did a few times. We never.
Let me go back here and look at this beard stroke for a second. Yeah, see, like, man, your fingertips are bright rosy red, and then there's just this pale, dead fish belly hand. Like, that is blood pressure issues going on there, man. That's what that is. Like, I'm not a doctor, okay, but I know a thing or two. Like, when's the last time you've been in for a checkup or a physical, man? Seriously, I don't know what you're doing besides smoking pot and these psychedelics, but if this is just weed, you are smoking way too fucking much weed. Like if you're smoking a zip to the head every day, that's too much. Like, smoke a fucking eighth per day at the most. Don't fucking smoke a whole ounce or whatever. I don't know what you're doing, man, but all right.
We never really got too super deep. I mean, I guess we did a few times into the philosophical discussions and stuff because like I like socializing more than I like that shit. And Gary runs a very regimented. Like when Gary appears in public, he likes to fuck around every once in a while. Like he would allow me to talk about movies and music and shit for a while, and we'd agree on some things and disagree on others. But eventually, it would always be brought back to the central topic, which was this. Antinatalism, ephilism, whatever it is that he, and I don't disagree with every tenet of that I've heard him espouse.
That's a bad sign, Paul.
But I don't agree with the entire conclusion, and I think that's the big difference between Gary and I. But anyway, I wanted to clear that up. I wasn't making fun of the place that you live, Gary. I'm not speaking for the other guys.
If there aren't more differences between you and Gary Mosier than simply not agreeing with the ephilism philosophy, then your life is off course.
Stuff, but I've lived pretty lean in my life, and I don't give a fuck where you live. Like that type of criticism ain't gonna come out of me. At least not with a guy like you. I think you're smart, and whatever. There was a whole little exchange that he had with me where we were talking about unkempt. I called him unkempt, and he gave me the reverse criticism, obviously, of
well, he fucking is. I mean, can't the man run an afro pick through his hair one damn time? I mean, I don't know. Anyway,
look at you, Yeah, okay. Well, point well taken, Gary. Point well taken, sir. Although I will take you up on that pussy challenge, my friend. You line. Let's put me and you next to each other. Let's get like 8 random hot chicks and say you got to suck one of these guys' dick, and we'll just take a random poll which one they'll do. I bet my dick wins over yours. But hey, whatever. We'll have to share that disagreement as men.
You know, you got me thinking about that one, and honestly, I would call it an even toss-up. I can't imagine which one of you would get more tail if I sent you both into the bar and said have at it. I mean, let's see. Gary isn't better. I mean, he's got like a more height weight proportional physique. He's got better facial bone structure than you do, but he's also, he's also crazy, and he's also a giant asshole. And there's no way he could turn that off long enough to get somebody's phone number. Whereas you, on the other hand, I would imagine have a pretty god tier talk game. Like I could really see Paul talking a woman's pants off in fairly short order. But then again, like I was saying, man, you look like you just crawled out of a cancer ward right now. I mean, I'm not going to pick on your weight or the nigga from the zigzag cover beard or anything like that, but you look sick. You've looked sick for a while.
Anyway, if you guys could help me out here at the end of this, help make sure Gary at least sees this. I don't know if he'll respond to it or not, but I really don't care. I just wanted to clear the air and shit on that front. So yeah, YouTube, it doesn't have like you can't make video responses directly to people anymore. So make sure he gets the link. Let him know. Shout it out to him. Send him the link to this. Thank you guys for watching, and peace out.
Don't think that the fact that I interrupted this 6-minute video 15 or 20 times changes the fact, or rather prevents me from recognizing that there was no coherent narrative in this video. I mean, this was disconjointed stoner rambling. And I am the king of disconjointed stoner rambling. If you can't really hold it together for 6 minutes, like I said, you're smoking too much. Paul, I'm just gonna kind of recap and reiterate what I've been saying to you. The reason why I've been so rough on you lately, and I've been, slinging these ponage barbs at you, is because, frankly, I'm concerned. Once again, yeah, you can call it concern trolling, and I'm sure you will, and I'm sure everybody else will. But it really isn't. You're worrying me quite a bit. So, whatever it is that you're doing, I hope that you're gonna kind of try to do less of it, and as far as the whole YouTube thing goes, and who's got more subscribers and who's got more ad revenue and yada yada, just try to remember that this is all just a game. And I'm not even just talking about YouTube. I'm talking about life in general. Don't take it too seriously. Try to find your joy a little bit, man. Like, cause I hear you saying how great your life is, and how you're doing what you love and making ducats, but I don't see it at all, Paul. I don't see it. And I see Howard Hughes right now. I see Brett Keane. I see an angry, paranoid, fearful person, and that isn't the Paul's ego that I'm familiar with. So, anyway, that's all I have to say about that. And I'm sure I've already been ranting for an hour and a half, but let's spend a little time with with this scary looking motherfucker. Oh, this face right here. Before the video even starts, it's already funny. Just that craggy face with that angry expression. Whatever comes out of his mouth is going to be gold before he even says it. That's the best part. All right, let's Okay, Gary, let's spend some time with Amendum.
Another video.
Another video
Lots of
here.
irritating stuff.
Why does it always kind of sound like you're doing like a W.C. Fields whenever you start a video? Fortuitous circumstances.
Anyway.
Go away, kid, you bother me.
Fakesagan made some sort of reaction video to the analysis and the what the fuck.
I have a way of reacting when people talk about me.
And it wasn't very interesting, but I'll...
Oh, it wasn't very good. It was so lame, but I'm just going to respond. Oh, Fakesagan's not relevant anymore. You're not worth talking about. But then I'm going to dedicate 3 videos to you. Man, can people just stop doing this corny shit? Seriously? I'm not doing this to anybody else. I mean, like, when's the last time you guys have actually heard me say, oh, you're not really relevant enough for a response from me? I mean, I guess I can't do that when I've only got the 383. But really, even when I had my last channel and I was still sitting up at about, like, 2,200 or whatever, like, I didn't do that to anybody, and I was talking to people with less subs than me. You know, what I object to is that it's corny. It really is. Like, any time you start off a sentence with, this isn't worth my time, or you're not relevant enough, but then you proceed to address that person, or talk about something that they said, you're just making it, like, there might as well be a big wobbly dildo poking out of the center of your forehead, because you just look like such a retard. Like, can people just please stop doing this?
Play some of the Fakesagan clip. Like I said, it's just this, whatever, this banter kind of nonsense.
It is banter. That's precisely what it is. We're bantering on the internet for the entertainment of our mutual audiences, okay? There's nothing wrong with it. That's what we do.
Wasting time because, my image is funny when he freezes it.
Can't handle the bants, Gary? Dude, what's wrong with me? It's not like I really said anything that insulting about your appearance, Gary. Okay. You froze in some funny facial expressions, and I'm having fun. Okay, fuck you. Can't I have some fun?
Yeah, whatever. It's just kind of a waste of time. Anyway, and then so Piro made a video, and it's just irritating. Didn't get it's just. There's no substance in it. No even...
Well, it's Piro.
...useful concession to the communication problem made out of this word issue. And he just plays this game like, it's your fault. Which, you can say that politely, but it doesn't really matter.
I'm just going to skip around a little bit, try to find some interesting stuff, because this is 41 minutes. We're not going to do the whole thing.
But it's like it's your car, right? It's your lemon, and you're comfortable. It's got a good seat or something. I don't know.
He's got to be talking about me if he's talking about crappy cars.
And so you find something about it that makes it hard to just throw in the crapper, but you're better off without it.
Oh, this is some kind of analogy. Well, whatever. I'm not going back to the beginning of it.
My analysis of my interactions with Piro is that yes, I'd be better off without it.
Oh.
Doesn't make any contribution.
Okay, Piro is the lemon. Piro, right. Nobody else has any value as a human being besides you. Well, that's typical in Mendham fare. Okay, this tracks. This makes sense.
At all. It's just an irritant and a frustration. And to add to it, like there should be some friend component. Well, I can't, sort of make this sort of clear. Is you're playing a different game than I am, asshole. The game I'm playing, there's real victims that you're harming, and your philosophy harms. You glib fuckers are playing glib game, okay, where it's all harmless. It's a video game. No real damage is done. In my world, real damage is done by your stupid, glib, silly, religious mush.
Okay, so in your world, real damage is done by people having religious beliefs and some kind of metaphysical outlook. Well, Gary, what is your world? what is the shrinking world of Inmendum? Because I never see I never really see you interacting with other people. I know you got your cats there and everything. What I'm saying is this is all hypothetical to you, okay? Like you're like the fundamentalist evangelical preacher talking about abortions, and he doesn't even know any pregnant teenage girls in his own personal life. Okay, like this is all intellectual for you. This is all just strictly academic for you. There are no real consequences in your life to anything that you talk about because you're completely disconnected from living. You don't have a life. You have no life to be affected. Okay, you don't know anybody who's going to be affected by the fact that Donald Trump was elected president instead of Hillary Clinton. Least of all you. Okay, your government benefits aren't going to change, I'm sure. And they're not going to build a Mexico wall in your house. So, like, none of this affects you. You have no stake in life, is essentially what I'm saying, Gary. Like you're not affected by anything. Beyond the degree to which you vicariously live through other people and identify with the plight of others in typical liberal fashion. But that's all there is for you.
So why would I be friends with that? Because I can't be friends with people in my own family because they voted for Trump.
And that's not healthy. That is fucked up. It wasn't too long ago, Gary, that you were saying about me. Well, Fakesagan, I don't think you have daddy issues. I think you have mommy issues. I think you resent your mom, and that's why you've hit women and stuff like that. But, there are women in my life, and my mom is in my life. You really are the guy who has nobody at all. I mean, especially if you've written off your own family because they voted for Donald Trump. Gary, everybody voted for Donald Trump. Donald Trump fucking owned this election. The people have spoken, okay? There's a handful of liberal elites and a Wall Street beholden corporate media that wanted Hillary Clinton to win, and that's about it. It was a pretty small camp trying to get her in office, and I guess you, okay, so you were part of that camp. But by and large, Trump has a mandate. He has a mandate from the people and the world. It's because, remember, it's not just America. Foreigners have opinions on U.S. elections too, and they were all pulling for Donald Trump. Like, I don't see too many people overseas saying, man, I really wanted that Hillary Clinton to win. No, nobody's saying that. And I'm not just talking about Russia here. I'm talking about Europe. I'm talking about the Netherlands. Look wherever you want. There is nothing but hubris and excitement over the fact that Donald Trump pulled this one out and won the election. People are thrilled. There's enthusiasm again. Markets are recovering. Commerce and trade are coming back. People are coming out of their slumber. They're coming out of this depression and this fearful Walking Dead mentality that we've all been in for the past few decades. Things are it's morning again in America, Gary. Do you hear what I'm saying? It's morning again in America. And and we all played a part. All right. So I think you're being a little bit unfair to your own family members if you're giving them the cold shoulder for voting for Donald Trump, because guess what? We all wanted Trump. Trump is America. We all wanted Donald Trump.
Why the fuck should I put up with your glib bullshit?
Well, because they're your family and you only get one. Especially when you're fucking you and you're damn sure never going to make a family of your own, Gary.
I hate glibbists, and you're a glibbist. You're an excuse maker. They're just part of the problem, not part of the solution, as I've stated.
The solution, the final solution, glam rock Joseph Stalin. You know what? You know what, guys? I think you got enough of a video for the day. I'm actually just not in the mood for this right now. I mean, don't get me wrong, Gary. I love you to death, but I just, I'm in a good mood right now, and I mean, I wasn't when I turned the mic on and started. I was actually kind of in a bad mood. I was thinking about my pickup truck. I was kind of pissed off. But I mean, YouTube is my therapy. I feel good right now, and I don't want these negative vibes on me right now. I'm turning this shit off. All right, so that's all the news that's fit to print. Keep it fake.